son does identify as a cat, but I cannot take him to a vet because I tried that, and the veterinarian told me that because he has human anatomy, that he does not know how to work on him or diagnose him.
There's no way.
And he legally cannot. So, and while I do think that is a form of discrimination, because my son, if he says he's a cat, he is a cat. And he needs to be treated like that, like one,
I can't.
I'm not going to press charges because I know that he could lose his license if he did work on my son. So I'm not gonna try to sue him or anything. So
just send the asteroid, man.
This is something that I want to raise awareness on because I do think that people that identify as an animal should be able to go to the vet.
Yeah, sure.
That's the medical attention that they're wanting. And so I really do appreciate you asking this question. I think it's an important topic that we discuss because if we don't, we're never going to make progress. And these people that identify as cats are going to have to continue going to human doctors.
You know what? At some point, we really got to charge these people with child endangerment. Because that woman is flipping nuts, mate. I'm very offended because I actually identify as a billionaire, but my bank won't, they won't show the extra numbers in there to affirm it for me. And I just feel so offended and discriminated against. Guys, believe me when I tell you that this clip is going to shock you. I've done hundreds, almost 1,000 videos at this point. This is probably one of the most absurd things I've ever heard. These kids stand up and fight back against their woke teacher pushing the crazy ideologies on them. I mean, just listen to this.
How dare you? You've just really upset someone. Saying things like, should be in an asylum.
I didn't say that. I just said if they want to identify as a cat or something, then they're like genuinely unwell.
Then they've gone.
Yeah, they're crazy.
True.
You were questioning their identity.
I wasn't a question. I was just saying about the gender. I didn't say anything about them.
But where did you get this idea from? There's only two genders.
I just think it's my opinion.
That is my opinion.
If I respect their opinion, can't they respect my opinion?
It is not an opinion.
Yes, it
is.
It's not an opinion you can have.
Loads of people think there's only two genders.
There's only a boy and a girl.
Literally. There's no other private part. There's only two.
Gender is not linked to the parts that you were born with. Gender is about how you identify, which is what I said right from the very beginning of the lesson.
I just don't agree with that. So why should I have to listen to that I don't agree with?
Biological sex, there is actually 3 biological sexes, because you can be born intersex. You can be born with male and female body parts or hormones.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Yeah, there's 3. There's not 300.
Doesn't mean...
Yeah, there's 3. I'm talking about biological sex. In terms of gender, there are lots of genders. There is transgender. There is agender, people that don't believe they have a gender at all.
Yeah, but you can't have that. You
can't have that. It's not a law.
Yeah, but it's not a law, but it's our opinion. We just don't agree with it. We just think it's all just...
If you have a vagina, you're a girl. If you have a penis, you're a boy.
Yeah.
Right.
But cisgender is not necessarily the way to be. You are talking about the fact that cisgender is the norm. That you identify with the gender of the sexual organs that you're born with or you're with. That's basically what you're saying.
Yeah.
Which is really despicable.
How? When it's
if I called my mum right now, my mum would be on my side.
If I called my mum, she'd say.
Well, that's very sad as well then.
How is it?
Loads of people agree with that. There's only a small majority of people who actually think that.
True.
And why do you think we have so many problems in the world with homophobia?
Yeah, but
Because
that's
of
not
people
homophobia, that's gender.
Yeah.
Yes,
I'm
it
fine
is.
with lesbians and gay people.
Same.
I've got nothing against them.
Yeah, same.
But gender there is a link between it, and you're saying that people can't change
No, they
who they want
can't.
to be.
They can't. Unless you get a penis attached. No, I'm not.
You're confusing sex and gender.
No, I'm not though.
Wow.
Because if you have a
Yes, you are.
vagina, you're a girl. If you have a penis, you're a boy.
Yeah, you can't have a vagina and be a girl, but then
Gender-
Unless you get
identify
surgery, and even then,
Gender
because
is
you've got
about
those genes.
how you identity.
I
How
just
you
don't agree with
identify.
it.
Yeah,
But
just
it's
one.
not an opinion
Yes,
that
it
we
is.
express in this
Yes,
school.
it is.
No, it's not. And if you
Wow.
don't like it, you need to go to a different school.
What?
But
I did go to a
I'm
different
reporting you to Miss Willis. You need to have a proper educational conversation about equality, diversity and
I'm
inclusion.
doing it. My mum's
Because
doing
I'm
it.
not having that expressed in my lesson. When I'm teaching you about you can be who you want to be,
Everyone else
how
thinks
you
it.
identify is up to
So
you.
Everyone else
people
thinks it.
think
They just don't say it because then all this
Yeah.
happens.
Maybe because they're polite and maybe they're sensitive.
I haven't said anything in all of the lessons I've been in. It's just because they turned around and started saying something. So I said, how can you identify as a cat when you're a girl?
Well, they're now writing a statement. I would imagine that you'll be asked to write a statement as well.
We will.
Yeah, we will.
Wow. That might be one of the most just outrageous things I've heard. And this is in the UK, by the way. I know this is happening in a lot of places, but this clip in particular was in the UK. It's hard to believe listening to it that it's actually real. This teacher is just outrageous and disgusting. It really is. And this is why a lot of people are getting their kids homeschooled, because the kids have more sense than the teachers teaching them. I mean, I take my hat off to those kids standing up to that flipping donut of a teacher. I can't believe the teacher said they should be going to a different school. Like they're not allowed to question things or anything. That school needs a new teacher. And one of those kids said, if I can respect their opinion, can't they respect mine? Well, I think those kids found out following that they really don't. Because kids educating their teachers is just, I'm not really sure that's the way round it's meant to be. That teacher needs to be away from kids, full stop. If genitals don't determine gender, how does removing them or changing them affirm it? Makes no sense to me.
Point of it was she was being called despicable. She was told that she cannot have the opinion. So the child was saying that her opinion is that you can't change your gender. The teacher, and I will make a direct quote, said, that is not an opinion that we express in this school. And if you don't like it, you need to go to a different school.
That's
now, Dominic,
crazy.
as much as I'm being silly with my fancy dress, this is a very serious story because I mean, what is going on in this world?
She just said exactly what it was. Fancy dress.
When children can say that they're cats and be taken seriously at school.
Exactly.
Crazy.
And I'm afraid that teacher is just one of the many examples we're seeing of teachers, educators, people that
They're
are
not
trusted
educators.
With, you know, our children's understanding of this world, their readiness to actually explore different points of view. When teachers are actively, very aggressively shouting that down in quite an emotionally unstable way, I think. I don't know whether or not the issue was very personal to that teacher in particular, but the way she dealt with it was completely unprofessional. And to say that if you...
Yeah, it was just so difficult for me to listen to, because it just angers me, these people. They have the audacity to call themselves teachers and educators, and they talk to kids that way. You know, it's like those kids are in a flipping prison. They can't question anything. They can't have an opinion. They're told what to say, what not to say, what opinions they can have. What are they there to learn? They're there. It's like they're there being taught how to fall in line. And if they don't, they get called to go to a different school and they're going to be in trouble.
Express these views that she really has decided is unacceptable. I'm not sure she speaks for the whole entire school. If you don't like it, find another school.
Crazy.
Is an example of how polarised this debate has actually become, where anyone who expresses, you know, a pretty much scientifically sound view that there are only two genders and that identifying yourself with a cat is, you know, really, it doesn't make any sense at all, does it? You get shouted down and called a homophobe. She's linked it to homophobia.
She said she was saying, why do you think, this is a direct quote, why do you think we have so many problems in the world with homophobia? Now, look at this little graphic, everyone. Some people would say that there's about 70-odd genders. This one describes 18. This was an NA...
Male, female. Okay, right. That's where we're at. Non-binary... Passing? What the hell does passing mean? Third gender. Transgender man, transgender woman. So what's a transgender then if they're not a transgender man or a transgender woman? I'm confused. Two-spirit. What? Agender. What the hell is a two-spirit? Bigender. Cisgender. Gender expression. What? Gender fluid, gender queer, what? Gender variant, prefer not to say other. Jeez, this is what kids have to deal with? Wow.
NHS questionnaire thing that was asking you to identify with all of these different genders, which one are you? This is bonkers, isn't it, Nigel?
Yep.
Well, I mean, the teacher was unnecessarily aggressive on this one. I thought the kids were actually fighting back quite admirably.
Yep.
And where the teacher should have gone with this conversation is, no, you can't identify as a cat or an aardvark or a chihuahua or something like that. You cannot identify as a different species.
But you think you can change your gender?
But I do think you can change your gender. And so that is enshrined in British law for most purposes.
So you think, so for example, I could decide so you're saying a cat is me taking it too far, but I could
It's a different
decide,
species, so it would be ridiculous.
So as long as
any
it's
more
the
than
same
you're a pillar
species,
box or
I
something.
could identify, as long as it's the same species, you're comfortable that I could identify as that. So I could identify as a man.
Yes, you can.
Could I identify as a black man?
Oh, no.
Then it gets more complicated because transgender is something that is a personal necessity. If you're trying to change your race...
I thought this guy was going to be on the bandwagon with us guys, but no. But no. He's bent the knee to the mob. He knows what he's saying is BS, but I guess he wants to keep his job. That is a choice, and it also affects another community.
Well, but do you not think that this whole transgender thing affects another community? Men saying that they can be women. Do you not think that the community of women are affected by that?
Well, they are. That's where we talk about women's spaces. But if under the law, a woman can have a penis.
Yeah, I mean,
and the question then is whether or not that woman should be able to use women-only spaces. I think not, by the way. But the only difference under the law is you don't send a trans woman with male genitalia into a women's prison.
Firstly, just because something is law doesn't mean that it makes sense or that it's right. And you know, if something is not right, just because it's law, that doesn't mean, you know, you have to follow it. It's my personal view.
Well, you have to follow the law.
Well, you don't have to follow the law if it's not right, and that's how people affect change. But on that, the logic is the same. It doesn't matter if you're identifying as a different race or if you're identifying as a different species, because the whole point of being transgender and having gender dysphoria is the idea that you were placed in the wrong body and you identify with another gender. So using that logic, you can feel like you were born into the wrong race, because that's a biological thing. You can feel as though me not being white is materially affecting my life and my mental health. Same with a different species. I mean, it's not entirely uncommon for people to identify with animals and want to be animals. I mean, online you can find where people can actually pretend to be dogs and foxes.
But they can't be a dog or a
fox. Those people need to have their hard drives checked, most of them. I'm not going to lie to you. Those furry people, whatever you call them, yeah. Like, when I watch them, I can just see and smell the BO through the screen. Not being funny. If people enjoy doing that, cool. But most of the people doing that are flipping weird, mate. It is. That's. We're all thinking the same thing, right?
But they believe it in their minds, so the logic is the same.
It's just crazy. Of course, again, in the UK, man, it just never seems to end. The long list of stupid nonsense things going on in England. This is happening in a lot of places in the West, though, of course, in America, lots of other countries. But everyone knows it's BS. But they're just bending the knee to these people. And it's just, I mean, adults do dumb stuff all the time and they can make their own decisions because they're an adult. But the fact kids have to deal with this stuff, I'm so glad I got school out of the way with before all this BS came in there, because school is hard enough as it is. And now kids have to deal with that. It's just crazy. Absolute insanity. That's the only word for it.
Gender is self-expression.
Self-expression?
The fact that you don't know that's really embarrassing because you literally don't know in science.
I'm asking your opinion of it.
It's not an opinion, it's fact. Gender is self-expression, how you identify yourself, how you're socialised throughout life. So sex is what you're born with. Yeah. So there's a difference.
So what's more important? What's more important, gender or sex?
What people want to be.
What people want to be, huh?
Medically, important in one sense. Because it have to be one thing. Sex is important medically. Gender is important in how you define you. dress how you want because that's what you want. You've been socialised as a male, I'm assuming. So what's stopping you? Do you know what I mean? Like if someone was then stopping you and saying you're not.
These three fit the description to me.
So do you think there's such a thing as a transgender child?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. You do, right?
Excuse me?
Yes.
Why would you... There's no such thing as a transgender child. Why would you want to keep men out of women's sports?
Do you think men should... Cheers, thank you. Do you think men should go in women's sports?
I'm sure everyone.
Yeah, why not?
All these girls saying men should be in women's sports. I tell you what, you jump in the boxing ring or the cage, MMA wrestling with a dude who's even been training for 2 weeks, they'll be tapping out in 2 seconds. It's easy for them to say it though, isn't it?
Whatever you want, I care. Genuinely, there's no such thing as a transgender. Look, if somebody wants to be transgender, does that affect you in any way, shape or form?
Yeah.
No, it doesn't. So why do you care?
Absolutely.
It doesn't affect you. So why do you care?
You get a nice sunny Saturday.
These are the same people that rant and rave about Free Palestine when she just said that it doesn't affect them, so why do they care? They seem to care about a lot of things that it doesn't affect them, right? Unless it goes against their opinions and beliefs.
Why are you calling him a loser? He has a right to This is the tolerant. He has a right. You're a bunch of fascists, that's what you are.
No, let's say
fascists.
I'm not the tolerant left. I'm lovely intolerant to people who are intolerant.
Excuse me.
No, because you think you get
So angry, aren't they?
You think it's funny is we're getting heated. People are heated because they're unhappy because you're doing awful things. It's easy to sit calm.
What's awful about this?
Look at you. Look at you. You don't look at your grenades. Grenades with like shame grin. This is what you do on your sunny Saturday. Get in there.
Do you agree with that?
Yes.
Can a man get pregnant?
Yes.
Can a man
Wow. A man can get pregnant, huh?
Yes.
He got attacked in
A man can get pregnant
It's
and a
so
woman
funny
can have a
because it's so
penis.
funny because you're answering these questions like thinking you're going up there.
You're
Yes,
entitled to
and you're an idiot.
And you don't think you're in a cult?
No, oh my gosh, Cole.
You don't think you're in a cult?
Excuse me.
I'm just having a conversation.
If she, right, all I've got to say here, if she was transgender right now,
This just circulates back to the original clip. These kids have been hearing this stuff in school from their teachers, from parents, mostly from the education system because it pushes this stuff on these people. If anything, these kids should be going, mate, what, you know, they should be agreeing with him. It's sad that they don't.
Sick and tired of it.
Yeah.
Because you're demonising him. Yeah, you're demonising
does
him.
him being transgender affect you in any way?
No, you're demonising him. That's fascism.
No. Do you know why? Do you know why?
They can't have a conversation, can they?
She lives her life doesn't affect anybody else. I'm imagining you're a woman by the look of it.
You're virtually calling him a cockroach the way you're demonising him.
No, you'll see your bad behaviour. You're going to call it out.
I'm imagining you're a woman.
Your generation is me.
All I'm trying to say is,
So why do you want to come across in English? I'm presenting myself as a woman. So, that's fine.
55.
So you're saying that's how I present myself. So how is someone presenting themselves affect you? If someone presents themselves as a male, they're a male. Someone presents themselves as a male, they're a female. Oh my god! Fascist!
That's it. That's it. Your generation can't do
I bet their parents are proud of them.
I. That's your generation.
in your generation,
And
it's
picking on
out
it.
there. In your generation,
You can't debate. Your generation can't debate.
is disagreeing
Hey, he's not wrong, they can't debate.
You can't debate. He can debate. He's got
Nah, they're
facts.
women, all right.
Facts. This guy has got facts on his side, yeah. He's got facts on his side. All you've got is emotion. That's all you've got is emotion. He's got facts. You're doing a great job.
Yeah, the vein on your head.
Well, I'm just pushing back. I'm sick and tired of you fascists. That's what I am.
Do you know what the word fascist means?
We all are, mate.
Wait, do you not agree with transgender?
Sorry, I'm just sticking up for you.
Stick around.
Well, you're doing a good job. You cause them debate. You bring facts.
Woman, don't fucking woman me. Okay,
See, why are you getting so angry? Take a chill pill. This is your generation. You can't debate.
It's just scary that these are the people that are going to be, you know, they're going to be in hospitals, in schools. This is the younger generation. And the guy's right, they can't debate. A lot of them are cooked, man. A lot of them are. And they're so quick to violence and aggression. And it's crazy to see. This is just goes back to the first clip. This is the stuff they're being taught. This is the stuff they're hearing. Because everything they're saying is what they've heard from somebody else. They don't believe it. They've just heard it from somebody else who's just as delusional as they are. Wow. Guys, let me know what you think down in the comments. It's hard to believe it's real, and these people actually genuinely believe what they're saying is real. That's the craziest part.